Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know on the channel, I like to dive into the story of Call of Duty, sometimes looking at various different things. We've looked at saddest moments, we've looked at the biggest plot twist. This one's a little different. Pretty sad actually, but not the saddest moments. Specifically today, we are going to be diving into the darkest moments in Call of Duty history. These range in very, very different games, and each of the situations that we're going to look at in this video are very, very different. Some of them displaying death, some of them just being shocking backstories that are just incredibly dark, and I almost guarantee you're not going to expect what some of these are. These show the darkest moments from the war, but not just the war, the sadness of the real world in general, and the sadness of people's stories. And that is what we are diving into in this video. I think I put together a pretty good video, so if you like this type of thing, want to see more videos like it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on, all of that kind of jazz. But without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about. Call of Duty is filled with sad moments. And what I mean by that is if we go way, way back, we can see things like in Black Ops 2, Frank Woods shooting his best friend and assuming that he has killed him. Or if we go to the Modern Warfare series, most recently, we have Soap McTavish passing away. And similarly, in the original Modern Warfare 3, we also have Soap McTavish passing away.
Not now, son. Just rest. Get a medic! Come on, stay with me, son. Price. Oh no! So! No! So! You have to go now! Get off me! I'm sorry.
Now, these moments are iconic in Call of Duty. They set the tone, push the story forward, and give our protagonists some motivation to, well, take down the bad guys or show why they are doing so. Now, as I mentioned, these moments are important, but they're not the moments I want to focus on for this video. I wanted to focus on the darkest moments. A lot of the times, these are shocking, showing the brutalities of war. Sometimes, yeah, they include death, but other times, they just show how brutal people can be in the universe and are shocking not because of the death of a character per se, but shocking because of how they shape a character or how they shape a war, showing the brutality of the real world, of real war, or the brutality of life itself. And it all begins actually with a death from the game Call of Duty Black Ops 1. This revolves around a character by the name of Bowman, which also just so happens to be my last name. But that aside, Mason, Woods, and Bowman are all caught by the Viet Cong. Specifically, they were caught by Nikita Dragovich and Kravchenko and handed over to the Viet Cong. They are captured, held captive, and start to be tortured. They seemingly have no way of escape when they are forced to play Russian roulette. Now, this in itself, watching your friends die, is pretty sad, but the way that it plays out is incredibly dark and sets the tone for the rest of the game, showing how bad these bad guys can really be and what is going on with the Viet Cong behind the scenes.
Don't! You dead American!
Последний шанс. Играй или умирай.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of shit.
Bowman! Bowman! You fucking son of a bitch!
Next.
I'm gonna kill you all!
So in itself, this alone is really dark. You get to see behind the scenes of the brutalities of war and what the enemies are willing to do. But this is actually not the part that I'm talking about. Years later, before the release of Black Ops Cold War, we got an Easter egg to reveal the game, specifically called Pawns Takes Pawns. And in this, someone by the name of William Bowman is the one carrying out this kind of Easter egg.
My name is William Bowman. Joseph Bowman was my father. We still got a lot of work to do.
As we find out, this is Bowman's son, and he is pissed because he never got to grow up with a father because once again, he died in that foxhole in Vietnam. Not only do we see the death of Bowman, but we see how his death affected his son years and years later. Now, what's even more sad is this is the end of the storyline for William Bowman. He was never added into Black Ops Cold War, and with the Pawn Takes Pawn Easter egg being solved, there was never any more to it. And this could have been a really cool, really dark, and really sad storyline to bring back Joseph Bowman's son. But they never did. Moving to the next dark moment within Call of Duty, we go to Call of Duty World War II. And a lot of these moments are not going to maybe be big moments that you remember, but when you see them, you will see what I'm talking about. In Call of Duty World War II, there is a character by the name of Zussman, specifically Robert Zussman. He is eventually captured and taken to a POW labor camp. At this time, he is gone, but by the very end of the game, Daniels needs to save his friend. So he goes back with the 1st Infantry Division and finds the POW camp where he is being held. And at this time, we get to see how bad the conditions truly were, showing the horrors from World War II.
They had them living worse than animals. From the looks of it, they were beaten, starved, and worked to the bone.
But unlike other previous World War II games, this was the first time we got to see this in a really high resolution, a 1-to-1 what it would have actually looked like in the real world.
The Nazis had murdered our boys in cold blood, and no fire in hell could burn away the stain.
Bodies hanging, burnt bodies, people dead, the living conditions of these people that were held there for years.
They'd slaughtered the weakest, anyone that was slowing them down.
And by the very end, we also get to see Zussman. We save him. He is completely emaciated after being held there for such a long time, not fed food, and treated to these horrible, horrible labor conditions of a POW within World War II. Pretty dark, right? But I don't think it is anything compared to the final one we are looking at here. The final one comes from a Call of Duty game with absolutely no campaign. Really, not much story whatsoever, but what we do get is the backstory of the specialists within Black Ops 4. And a lot of these specialists have pretty dark backstories. We have things like gambling addiction and crazy stuff along those lines. But the one that I wanted to show you is from a character by the name of Firebreak. This is his backstory.
You fucking dirty little thief!
Papa, I was hungry.
You worthless maggot, just like your brother!
No, you did not see that wrong. That is the story of Firebreak, a character who grew up with an abusive father, growing up with just his father and his sister, and one day he's had too much. After his father went after his sister, took a can of lighter fluid, dumped it on his sleeping drunk father, and lit him on fire. And off in the distance, you can see his father, burning, jump out of their apartment window. It is the darkest story by far in a Call of Duty game, and then we see Firebreak in the future become someone who goes around and eliminates things with fire to eliminate disease, to clear out areas, and area denial. It is an insanely dark backstory. And quite honestly, I don't think it gets any darker than that as far as Call of Duty goes. But if I missed anything, you can let me know what you think the darkest moments in Call of Duty are down in the comments. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you like these type of videos, hit that like button, subscribe, turn notifications on, all of that kind of jazz. But as always, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making